Yo, what's going on, everybody? Once again, you are tuned to Shooting with Shooters. I am Dayo Kosoko, one third of Shooting with Shooters, aka the Art Hype.
Yeah, we're in the building. I am James Anthony on social media, but yeah, I'm one third of Shooting with Shooters. And we have the other third. Who's next?
I'm Bryon Summers, photographer, content creator, and one third of Shooting with Shooters. He is
Listen,
always
yo.
doing my guys. Add a little extra sauce on there.
Hey, add the sauce, man, because you deserve all of it. Listen, y'all, we are here to talk to Bryon Summers today, who is the architect behind a project with Union Market here in DC that's celebrating melanin and Black heritage. It was definitely awesome to be one of the five, James as well, for this project. But it's a special moment for us to talk to Bryon, because Bryon was the individual that essentially passed the baton and said, guys, this is an opportunity to present and to create. So, Bryon is here, and we're going to talk to him and, shed a spotlight on his vision behind the project, his feelings behind his second time working with Union Market. Previously was with the We Love You project. We all remember that one, fire. It's just so it's really dope to be able to talk to Bryon and see what his thought process was, why he picked the pictures he picked, and let's go.
Let's do it.
So Bryon, how you feel, man?
Hey, man, it's cool. It's kind of weird being on this side of it all, even though it's kind of the same side. But we've always, it's funny, on previous shows we've always talked about. Bless you. We've always talked about.
Thank you.
On previous shows we've talked about like you possibly, interviewing me and vice versa, because we're always talking to each other about things, but. We do so much, but it's cool, and I'm glad to be on this side, especially talking to my guys.
Hey, one thing I want to know, Bryon, is when you were presented with this opportunity, was it something that, actually, if you can enlighten the viewers, is it something that you reached out to them, or did they reach out to you? Because the reason I ask that is because given the current climate that we're in, we have a lot of companies reaching out to creators of color to show their representation. So was this just a coincidence, or do you think it was very thought out?
So this is actually an interesting situation, I guess. So again, as Dayo mentioned in the intro, this is not my first time working with Union Market. Shout out to Ali Mom, Jody, and Jennifer. These ladies are wonderful over there, and they I got introduced to them the first time with my project, the We Love You project, where my goal was to take 1,000 pictures of Black men and digitally help them march in solidarity with everybody out here on the physical front lines. But for those that might not have felt comfortable out here marching, you can come to a safe space, take pictures. This is all pre-COVID, obviously, but it was great to have turnouts of like 100+ people in one day. Union Market was one place that opened their space up for me to be able to shoot. And we had over 200 in like one day, and I went back there twice. And the project went well, and they were very supportive of it and allowed me to gave me space on one of their walls, the outside walls, for 40 images. I was involved with 202 Creates, and they had vinyl installation. So it was a lot in that Union Market district. So our relationship began at that point. And, unfortunately, 4 years later, that same climate had, spiked again. And, again, unfortunate, but fortunate that we're in a position where we get to help raise awareness for this and to have our voices heard. Originally, again, before COVID and before George Floyd even, there was a art festival that's always at Union Market called the Halcyon Art Festival, and that was going to go on, but because of COVID, it got canceled. but they were still looking for a way to activate space at Union Market. So to answer your question, yes, Union Market DC reached out, or Eden's, the management company, reached out because they have a lot of space and they're in a community that, you know, is a chocolate city. So in times like this, them knowing the climate, they know, let's reach out to the community and the people that are affected by this and be allies. So that was a great opportunity for me to, you know, be involved in.
Nice.
Dope. And like we stated, you are one of the 5 photographers. What motivated you to pick the other 4 of us? I mean, I feel like it's a given why you picked.
Because y'all had the heat.
All right.
But being part of the community of shooting with shooters, we know many shooters. So as far as the other 2 photographers, what was your motivation behind picking all of us in a sense? And like you said in the previous episode, it was a curation project for you. So I wanted to know what spiked your interest to, you know, incorporate the 4 that you selected.
All right. So obviously, you know, I went close to home, and the work that I was close to, or work that I either was a part of or admired. And, you know, this all happened pretty fast. So again, you know, Halcyon was supposed to happen. That got canceled.
Yeah.
And then again, the snowball was rolling for the civil unrest of the country. So thinking fast, I thought, okay, who do I know that I know has stuff about this Dayo? You know, the countless works that I can name 2 off top that really stuck out to me. One was Moon Melanin that we had recently worked on. And actually one of my images that I was most proud of was in it. That was, you know, part of that process of Moon Melanin as well. The Black Fist image. And you also did a Black Panther homage, I believe a year or a little bit over a year ago. And those were 2 images that I was thinking, okay, these are images in DC that are representing people of this area that look like this. And, you know, let me go ahead and put him on the list, because I definitely, outside of you being like a friend, I'm thinking he's got meaningful, you know, melanated work. James, you're somebody that I thought about. Okay, wow, he's representing a different, like, I know I do. I feel like the people that I shoot are, you know, I want to make everybody look beautiful, first of all, but as you are, I guess, you know, I do retouching, but as you are. But then some people know, well, my line of work is to be on TV all the time, or I want to get to this level of whatever. So I need to get this level of polish or this level of fashion or high, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to go to James Anthony for that. So that you represented that. Dayo, you represented bold, meaningful. And it wasn't just African-American, it's African and American. You know, so you got that going on. So that's obviously why I chose you guys first. And Jeremy Ives, shout out to Jive Shot. Jeremy Ives is somebody who I've been admiring his work. He's somebody who had moved to the area, and I know that he had embraced it well. He's worked with you a lot, and I really like the difference in his work as far as like the bold contrast. And Jeremy's a student of like lighting, and like he's like a nerd when it comes to like getting the text right, the tech right, and I love that about his work. So again, that's three different types of
shooters,
photographers and shooters that are all capturing, you know, melanated skin. And then Ashley, somebody, and I tell her all the time, I wanted Ashley to shoot my wedding, but she was booked up like a year in advance. She's somebody who's a milestone photographer. She's called herself a milestone photographer, meaning she shoots weddings. She shoots, you know, babies being, you know, well, I'm pretty sure she shot a baby being born before, but she shot, you know, just life moments, christenings and different things that honestly, depending on your genre of choice, you might think that's just, oh, grandma or grandpa can just pull out the iPad and do that at the whatever the event is. But why not capture that and celebrate that moment? So out of that, I was like, I think this represents a nice array of melanin and different points. It's not all one thing. And that was one of the cool things about this versus the project 4 years ago, the WW project. It was all one uniform, it was all one photographer, and it had one main goal. But this one, it was an awesome time for me to be able to open it up and share. And even though it was less photos, I think it was more impactful with 25 images throughout the Union Market district.
Right. And speaking of those images, you were clearly presented 5 works of art yourself. And that's what we're going to focus on here for a second. You talked about the Black Fist photo. Let's talk about that initially. I think it's the largest print in Union Market of the series. And the location of it, right as you drive off the street adjacent, the resilience sign by Creative Theory. Shout out to Creative Theory and the mural over there. It's right as you turn the corner, you just see a fist. And I think it's so, it's powerful, cliche, but it is obviously Black Power, Black Fist. Tell us more.
No, well, definitely. Well, shout out to that fist, the model, right here. Hey, that looks familiar.
Does that fist look familiar?
That looks familiar. I'm about to do a side by side right now. No, hey, no, but this was it was funny. We were at 52 O Street just messing around, like we were supposed to be closing up, but. When if you're a photographer or creative and you just see something outside of your eye, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let me go back and try to get this right here. So we were walking out and it was just one light overhead. And I was like, wait a minute, this is kind of dramatic. Let's do something. And then earlier that night, I think we were talking about the moon and how it would, eventually that would inspire you to do Moon Melanin. But this shot, it was just three people. I think shout out to Ron and Josh. They were both there, I think, at this time. So, Ron had on like a cool scarf or something like that. I think I remember. But anyway, it was all dramatic. But this one shot just stood out, and I just saved it. I just put it to the side. I didn't know, that it would be on the side of a wall. And actually, the funny thing about this that I think was probably one of the coolest things is. When you're curating something or a part of an installation, you might want it to be on one particular area, but it might end up somewhere else, right? This ended up somewhere else. But I'm glad it's in the location that it's in right now, because if I'm looking at it, that's cool. But if I turn around and get a picture with it as I'm raising my Black fist in solidarity, I can look down. I think that's 6th Street. I can look down that and see the Capitol building. So it's kind of like symbolic to me, just location-wise, and that wasn't planned.
Well, I think you curated that, right? You curated the final selection of this locations.
Yeah. I definitely did, choose where this was going to go. But again, I wasn't thinking, oh, yeah, that reminds me, the Capitol building is right down here.
Yeah, but even what you just said, I think one of the dope photos that you posted to social media was your wife Christina Summers posted in front of that same image with her fist up. So when people, throughout this whole process of this mural being up, we've all had random people we don't even know just tag us to them viewing our work in stories or on their feed. So it's always cool when you can create a moment where people want to interact with what they're seeing and kind of emulate that. So yeah, kudos to you on that selection, because it's pretty dope. And just moving along from that photo to another one that you have up on the installation. There's a shot that you took of a young woman who a semi-profile shot, and it's kind of like a rose color pink. Can you tell us more about that and what made you choose that photo to be part of the project?
So this photo, I took it about a year ago. Shout out to Bianca Lumni, I believe I pronounced her last name right. Bianca, she was one of a handful of people that came out to one of my first model calls outside of We Love You Project. It was called Color, and at the time I think I was still in Brooklyn. I mean, no, I was living in Jersey still, but I just love Brooklyn. So it was a park, and actually it's not too far from your area, James. So it was at Brooklyn Bridge Park, and people came out, and I had like 3 just solid color backdrops. Shout out to shout out to Stina again for being an awesome photo assistant. And we just had people come out. I told people to wear earth tone colors, and she came out and she just happened to match exactly what I had. So it's kind of like a brown. There are like some I guess some pinks and darker browns and darker colors in that like half jean jacket situation.
Yeah.
But it just seemed something that was like almost monochrome. If it wasn't for her jeans, which still kind of complement that palette, if it wasn't for that, she would be like just completely monochrome. But I call this image the girl in brown, and I believe to me like it just feels like. I mean, when I think melanin, I this is if you ask me to go into my archive right now and choose an image that represents melanin, I'm going for this one.
Yeah. Yeah. The browns are just really, obviously with her brown as well, it's just really pow. It's like a pow punch, you know.
In case somebody thinks I'm crazy, just based off my computer, it looked a little rose. So yeah, brown. There we go.
Bryon, I mean, we can look at the next image. I particularly like this image because I'm a fan of photographers shooting outside of their own box. I think sometimes we shoot a lot of things that are very consistent, be it portraiture or this or that. But this image is, it's obviously it's a male dancer. I want to call him a ballerina of sorts. But the elegance in the shot is what has driven me to spark it in this kind of conversation. So I would love to know more about it.
Oh yeah. So shout out to Gabe Stone Shayer. This was at the American Ballet Theater. I don't know what you call a male dancer.
So a ballerina is wrong.
I think so because of the ends of ballerina.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what?
Let's
Let's take a brief pause. Alexa, what do you call a male ballerina?
Throughout Italy and France, male ballet dancers can be referred to as ballerinos or danseurs.
Ballerinos or dancer?
Ballerino.
Alexa.
I was gonna assume that. I was gonna assume that.
That's on some
Spanglish shit, right?
Yeah, ballerino.
But look,
right. Me hungry-o.
Did you say dancer like sir and madam?
I thought he said dansa.
Well, look, I'm just repeating what Alexa said. Maybe she needs to go back to school. But Alexa's she's our in-house. Actually, I'm sorry, she's been activated. Alexa, stop. But yeah, ballerino, for you guys out there that may not have been privy to that word, ballerino is the word that is brought to you today.
So shout out to Gabe Stone Shayer, the ballerino or dancer at American Ballet Theater. I met Gabe on a shoot with Ian Davis. Shout out to Age of the Creative. And the turban, if you don't know. But Gabe, we shot together on a previous Black History shoot, which was cool. And then just in speaking, we established that he was a dancer, and I was just thinking, okay, I like athletic shots, and I always wanted to get somebody that's a dancer, just demonstrating their athleticism. And again, I know them to be athletes because they're leaping and jumping and they have to be strong enough to do routines and whatnot, but I didn't really get it until I was in the studio with him, and I honestly didn't realize I was gonna be at American Ballet Theater that day. He just said come by the studio,
come through.
I pull up and I see ABT outside on the flag, and I'm like, oh,
that's
okay.
Tough.
Yeah, so realized he was one of a handful of Black dancers, and if you're familiar with the ballet theater, you might know Misty Copeland. She's, in that handful of dancers, and she's a principal dancer, so she's like one of, I think, two, if not the only one. But anyway, Gabe, awesome dude. This is one shot that to me stood out, and it looked like the Jumpman logo a little bit. So if there was like a dancer Jumpman, it might be it. But so he was giving me Alvin Ailey vibes, but just because on the strength of him being one of a few,
right?
I was like, this has to go in the collection.
No. I love the imperfection of the shot. That essentially, it's not boom. It's not like you hit it right on. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of a blur, but to me, that gives the movement. Mm-hmm. It actually makes me feel the picture more.
Yeah. So I always think dancing shots are, again, that's a form of art using your body, physical expression. So I always love looking at dance photography, especially. Another thing I love looking at being photographed are people with freckles.
Hey.
And that's one of the things, because when we were younger, people with freckles, as kids, being kids, sometimes you get teased. And it's one of those things that a lot of times you don't appreciate until you get older. And being a photographer, we all know that freckles adds character. It adds an element that many people may not have. Sometimes moles, like you think of Morgan Freeman. You may even think of me as I get older, as they, randomly show up. Freckles are always dope. And there's a photo that you have of a young lady with freckles all over her face. And it looks like, I don't know if they're braids or locks, but they
locks
across her face. Yeah, I want to know how you met her and what was the inspiration behind this shot.
Definitely. So shout out to Paris. If you're on social media, Instagram, she's Paris
with the
freckles.
freckles.
Yeah, and it's Paris with 2 S's.
Okay.
Paris was. So let me backtrack. I had a model call again for a photo shoot called "You're Beautiful, You're Beautiful," playing on you are beautiful because it is your beauty. So you're and you are. So freckles, own it. If you have freckles, you were born with that. That's God given. If you have vitiligo, that's God given. Embrace that. Just because the majority of a group doesn't have it doesn't mean it's not right or it's not good, or it's an imperfection. For this article, I encouraged people with freckles, moles, and vitiligo to participate. And she was one of the people who came out. And not only did she come out, she came all the way from DC.
To New York.
Yeah, to all the way up to New York. So it was cool, and flattering to see this. Like, oh wow, you came all the way up here for this free shoot. But it was one of my favorite shots to this day. Yes, these are locks that are framing her face. Her freckles, everybody has different, patterns, whether it's a fingerprint or curl pattern in your hair. I guess it goes the same for your skin tone and everything. So her freckles, her pattern is unique and it's right on her face. It wasn't that many on her forehead, but I wanted to get some balance with just, her composition. And I was able to crop this so that it's, just implied that, this is the face and it goes down. And, the way that I shot it, I feel it makes it kind of a relatable shot. It's like, I know this is Paris because I shot her, but it's almost like it's almost like a any woman kind of shot. If you might see yourself in this. So because it's so close and so intimate, it is Paris and she knows it, and people that know her know that. But I feel like it's one of those shots that a little girl hopefully can see, or a little boy can hopefully see and say, "That's me."
Yeah. That's an importance of representation.
Hey, listen, man, we talking about teeth earlier and things of that nature, but there's a phrase that Black folk used to use, and essentially it's called "put your money where your mouth is." And someone told me that was the essence behind grills. Being able to show your wealth and show your prestige, and you captured something that's special. Bryon, talk to me.
Hey, you must be talking about my homie Bex, Rebecca Hippolyte. She is
Hippolyte.
Yeah, Hippolyte. So shout out to Lovecraft Country, because I am Hippolyta. Even though I know him, hey, so catch up on that if you will. But shout out to Bex and shout out to Lucky Peters first, because I was on a shoot with Lucky, so I just happened to be hanging out, and this was like a shot that wasn't in the shoot, but Bex broke out the grills, and the community, we're always supporting each other. She needed some shots, so we're always hanging out. We get them, and she had this Jesus piece, I call it. It's not the necklace, it's a cross. If you zoom in, it's actually a cross. It's not a plus sign. It's just a piece, just like right behind her. I don't know these teeth names, but she's right behind these teeth.
I don't know these teeth.
Yeah, these right here.
Right, got you.
But yeah, she put on like a little mug, a little smirk. She had this leather jacket on and the flannel. Everything just looked real like badass, So it's kind of like I guess a dichotomy of it all. You think you think, Christianity and religion and cross, and you think one thing, and you think leather jacket, maybe it's something else, but why can't they coexist? Why can't you be proud of what you believe in? Because there's some gangsters in the Bible. So why can't you have that? had that. So the piece, when I submitted it to Union Market, the piece is titled, what is it called? Gospel Grills. Gospel Grills. So, so again, shout out to Bex, Rebecca Hippolyte, Ferry Does Bex on Instagram.
Dope, man. I would definitely say you blew everybody away with curating this project. Again, to this day, we're all still getting DMs about people visiting and being affected by it. When I went out there and I photographed some of my images, I had a guy come up to me and ask what I was there for and what was this exhibit about. So you are sparking conversation amongst strangers. So kudos to you on that. And, this is yet another project, like I've said in the past. You are the curation king. When I'm always thinking about an exhibit or something, I'm always like, yo, what would Bryon do? We got to figure out that bracelet, get you a bracelet like Jesus.
Jesus.
But I'm always giving you props. We're always giving you props for how you curate projects. One thing I do want to know, I want you to tell the viewers what's something that you got coming up, and let us know what to look out for.
Let us know what's next, man, so we can stay tuned.
Oh man, well, first of all, I'm definitely flattered, man. I definitely want to do more curation, to be honest. I feel like this was my first situation where I felt like I was really curating. And again, it was a time crunch to it. But that still was part of the fun part. So me having this first go around, I know what I could have, done to include more people. I wish, I had opportunity to do that, but that just means there's more opportunity. There's more chances in the future to do that. So I'm always thinking about ways to include the community and beyond. As far as next projects, definitely more episodes of Shooter with Shooters, and more content. I will say this: being forced to be home has given us all reasons to try to stay in contact or try to hone in on something else. And it just really, I guess, is like this is the pressure, right? And we are the coal right now. So hopefully this product that we're going to put out and continue to put out is the diamond or the pearl.
Love it.
Listen, Bryon, man, what you're speaking about is literally what's on my shirt.
Hey.
Opposition, man. We're not worried about opposition. We're crushing it. We're out here, and you're an example of that. Shout out to my guy at Dayo for the shirt, man. Much love. But yeah, man, no opposition, man. You're just moving forward, steamrolling. Keep rolling.
I love it, man. And look, speaking of your sweatshirt, Dayo, Sums. What's this on your shirt?
Snap! Sums. What is that? What's Sums?
Sums, man. Well, Sums actually started as a nickname for me, but it's a part of a brand that I tried to bring together as something that could be not only a legacy brand, but something that incorporates everything that I do. So right now, I'm putting out a lot of my photography, but I have other avenues as well, as like my illustrations. Design is a discipline of mine, but they all don't have to be separated. They can all come together. And if I bring it all together, like a math problem, everything adds up. So, this particular
He's too clever. He's too clever, yo.
This particular tee is the green Sums. There's a plant on the back. The same plant that's in the background. It's a Dieffenbachia one. So it's everything. Whether it's plants or my illustrations that I've been doing for a while. All of that. It just all comes together. So Sums is at sumsbrand.com. That's my online store for original photos, content, and poster drops.
Dope.
Listen, man, this was amazing, James.
Yes. We finally got to talk to the mastermind behind all of
Hey, listen, yo. When he say he's Sums, he is the Sums. Like he is the one that's adding things up over here. So thanks for making it all make sense, Bryon, and we appreciate you. And thanks for walking us down this bookmark, as James would say, in our legacy.
Yeah, Bryon, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
So you can find me at bryonsummers.com and Bryon Summers on every social media platform. That's BRYON Summers right here.
All right, you can find me. I am James Anthony on all platforms, again, including Cash App and Zelle.
And my name is Dayo Kosoko. This has been a pleasure. I am at The Art Hype and at thearthype.com, all platforms. And what James said, listen, shooting with shooters.
Like, follow, subscribe.